Very good morning to all my dear students. Welcome to St. Dungeons Public School, Bagpat online economics classes. As you know that we are working from our home. So my dear students, today we are going to discuss again chapter number 3, theory of demand. And in this chapter today we will discuss difference between movement along the demand curve and shifting demand curve. As you know that in my previous video we have discussed what is the meaning of movement along the demand curve and what is the meaning of shifting demand curve. But today we are going to discuss difference between movement along the demand curve and shifting demand curve. See here. First of all, you will write basis. Basis, then after movement along the demand curve, then after shift in demand curve. Shift in demand curve. See, movement along the demand curve means change in quantity demanded, and shift in demand means change in demand. Change in demand. See, first basis is meaning. First basis is meaning. Meaning means movement along the demand curve means, see here. See, when change in quantity demand of a commodity due to a change in the price of given commodity, price of given commodity, keeping other factors constant. Keeping other factors constant. It is known as movement along the demand curve. Movement along the demand curve. See, when change in quantity demand of a commodity due to a change in the price of given commodity and keeping other factors constant, but and reverse there. See, when change in demand, when change in demand of a commodity due to change in any other factors keeping price of given commodity constant. Price of given commodity constant. See, now when change in quantity demand of a commodity due to a change in the price of given commodity keeping other factor constant, but here reverse of this. When change in demand of a commodity due to change in any other factor, keeping price of given commodity constant means here change in price of given commodity, other factor remains constant, but here change in other factor, and price of given commodity constant. So I hope all of you have understood the difference between, means first difference. See second, effect on demand curve. Effect on demand curve. See, there is means movement along the demand curve, movement along the demand curve, and there is shift in demand curve. First movement along the demand curve. See here. So movement is either downward or upward. The movement along the same demand curve, along the same demand curve is either downward. Downward means expansion in demand. Downward means expansion in demand. Expansion in demand, or either downward or upward. Or upward means contraction in demand. Contraction in demand. I hope it is clear. See after this. Now shifting. Contraction in demand. The shift in demand curve. Shift in demand curve is either rightward. Rightward means increase in demand. Increase in demand, or leftward. Means decrease in demand. See, effect on demand. Next basis is effect on demand curve means movement is either downward movement, downward means expansion in demand, or upward means contraction in demand. Shift is either rightward means increase in demand, or leftward means decrease in demand. I hope all of you have understood second difference between movement along the demand curve and shift in demand curve. See third, reason. Reason. See, it occurs means movement. It occurs due to. It occurs due to change in price of. Due to change in price of given commodity. It occurs due to change in price of given commodity, but see, it occurs due to change in any other factor. Change in any other factors. Change in any other factor. Third reason, it occurs due to change in price of given commodity, and it occurs due to change in any other factors. For example, see, change change is either decrease in price or increase in price. Means change in price means change is either decrease in price or increase in price. I hope it is clear. See, it occurs due to change in any other factors. For example, change in price of substitute good. Substitute good. Next, change in price of complementary good. Complementary good. Next, is it visible or not? Yes, it is visible. Change in taste and preferences. Taste and preferences of the consumer. Comma, etc. So means I hope all of you have understood. Please pause the video and note down this. See, please try to understand again here. See, movement along the demand curve. When change in quantity demanded of a commodity due to change in price of given commodity. So here price of given commodity changes. Here price of given commodity changes and other factor constant. Other factors constant. But here any other factor, due to change in any other factor means other factor change. Other factors change, but price of given commodity constant. Means this definition is reverse of this. Means this definition is the opposite definition of this. Here price of given commodity changes, other factors constant. Here price of given commodity constant and other factors change. See, now here the movement along the same demand curve is either downward, means movement is either downward means expansion in demand, expansion means increase, or upward means contraction in demand. See, the shift in demand, shift is either rightward or leftward. The shift in a demand curve is either rightward, increase in demand, or leftward means decrease in demand. Decrease in demand means leftward shift, increase in demand means rightward shift. See, movement along the demand curve occurs due to change in price of given commodity. Change is either decrease in price or increase in price. Increase in price. But here, see here, it occurs due to change in any other factors. Any other factor means, see, any other factor means PR, CY, T, EX, PO, SW, DY. So these are other factors and PX. According to this, this remains constant, but these will change. These will change means change in price of substitute. See, price of related goods. Related goods are two types. First, substitute good. Second, complementary goods. So, change in price of substitute good. Change in price of complementary good. Next, T. Taste, change in taste and preferences of the consumer, etc. You can write here also a change in income of the consumer, change in expectation about future price, change in population, change in season and weather, change in distribution of income, etc. So I hope all of you have understood this difference. Please pause the video, again note down this. See, next basis, law of demand. Law of demand. Law of demand exists in the movement along the demand curve. But a law of demand does not exist in shift in demand curve. Shift in demand curve. See, how can you say like this? law of demand will exist in it, law of demand will not exist in it. See, as you know that, see, this is market demand function, F P X P R C Y T E X P O S W D Y. Now after this, dx is equal to F P X P R C Y T E X S W D Y. See, now movement along the demand curve. Movement along the demand curve says that demand of given commodity is affected by change in price of given commodity. Is affected by change in price of given commodity, and other factor remains constant. Other factor remains constant. Means movement along the demand curve says that demand of a given commodity is affected by change in price of given commodity. Other factor will remain constant. Means these factor will not affect this demand of given commodity. But shifting demand curve says that, see, this demand of given commodity is affected by change in any factor, change in any factor, change in any other factor, change in any other factor. But this price of given commodity remains constant, It means these factor means P R C Y T E X S W D Y will affect demand of given commodity, and Px will not affect demand of given commodity because it remains constant. See, the shift in demand curve says that demand of given commodity is affected by change in any other factor. Means change in price of related goods, change in income of the consumer, due to change in taste and preferences, due to, see, demand of a given commodity is affected by change in price of related goods, due to change in price due to change in income of the consumer, due to change in taste and preferences, due to change in expectation about future price, due to change in season weather, due to change in distribution of income. But this factor remains constant. See, movement along the demand curve says that demand of given commodity is affected by change in price of given commodity. Law of demand also says like this. Law of demand says also like this. Demand of given commodity is affected by change in price of given commodity. Other factor remains constant. So movement along the demand curve and law of demand means same both concept, means only you can say same concept. See, because movement along the demand curve, see, now as you know that what I'm saying movement along the demand curve says that demand of given commodity is affected by change in price of given commodity,